Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times. I'm the Man of the West, also from the Prancing Pony podcast, and let's wrap up week 32 with Silmarillion Saturday. Now, these days are our chance to revisit the history and legends of the Elder Days, whether from the Silmarillion, unfinished tales, or more. Now, last time in the Silmarillion, we were reading of the Noldor in Beleriand, and we listened into a chat between Galadriel and Melian. Now, the two will certainly be close, but there was a lot of tension packed in those early moments. Let's see where it goes from here. And Melian spoke then no more of these matters with Galadriel, but she told to King Thingol all that she had heard of the Silmarils. "This is a great matter," she said, "greater indeed than the Noldor themselves understand. For the light of Aman and the fate of Arda lie locked now in these things, the work of Feanor, who is gone. They shall not be recovered, I foretell, by any power of the Eldar, and the world shall be broken in battles that are to come, ere they are wrested from Morgoth. See now, Feanor they have slain, and many another, as I guess. But first of all the deaths they have brought, and yet shall bring, was Finwë your friend. Morgoth slew him, ere he fled from Aman." Then Thingol was silent, being filled with grief and foreboding. But at length he said, "Now at last I understand the coming of the Noldor out of the west, at which I wondered much before. Not to our aid did they come, save by chance. For those that remain in Middle-earth, the Valar will leave to their own devices until the uttermost need. For vengeance and redress of their loss, the Noldor came. Yet all the more sure shall they be as allies against Morgoth, with whom it is not now to be thought that they shall ever make treaty." But Melian said, "Truly for these causes they came, but for others also. Beware of the sons of Feanor. The shadow of the wrath of the Valar lies upon them, and they have done evil, I perceive, both in Aman and to their own kin. A grief but lulled to sleep lies between the princes of the Noldor." And Thingol answered, "What is that to me? Of Feanor I have heard but report, which makes him great indeed. Of his sons I hear little to my pleasure, yet they are likely to prove the deadliest foes of our foe." "Their swords and their counsels shall have two edges," said Melian, and afterwards they spoke no more of this matter. It was not long before whispered tales began to pass among the Sindar, concerning the deeds of the Noldor ere they came to Beleriand. Certain it is whence they came, and the evil truth was enhanced and poisoned by lies. But the Sindar were yet unwary and trustful of words, and, as may well be thought, Morgoth chose them for this first assault of his malice, for they knew him not. And Círdan, hearing these dark tales, was troubled, for he was wise, and perceived swiftly that, true or false, they were put about at this time through malice, though the malice he deemed was that of the princes of the Noldor, because of the jealousy of their houses. Therefore he sent messengers to Thingol to tell all that he had heard. It chanced that at that time the sons of Finarfin were again the guests of Thingol, for they wished to see their sister Galadriel. Then Thingol, being greatly moved, spoke in anger to Finrod, saying, "Ill have you done to me, kinsman, to conceal so great matters from me, for now I have learned of all the evil deeds of the Noldor." But Finrod answered, "What ill have I done you, lord? Or what evil deed have the Noldor done in all your realm to grieve you? Neither against your kingship, nor against any of your people have they thought evil or done evil." "I marvel at you, son of Eärwen," said Thingol, "that you would come to the board of your kinsman, thus red-handed from the slaying of your mother's kin, and yet say naught in defense, nor yet seek any pardon." Then Finrod was greatly troubled, but he was silent, for he could not defend himself save by bringing charges against the other princes of the Noldor, and that he was loath to do before Thingol. Now, frankly, I'd have been just fine bringing charges against the other princes of the Noldor, but let's be honest, Finrod is way better than I am. Back to the beginning of this passage, though, Melian passes along all that she'd gleaned from her chat with Galadriel to her husband, King Thingol. She stresses the importance of the Silmarils and foretells the destruction that will be required to take them from Morgoth. And she brings Thingol news of the death of his friend Finwë, Feanor's father, the king of the Noldor. Thingol does take a little bit of time to absorb this, but really he's looking at this from a strategic position, the big picture against Morgoth. Sure, maybe the Noldor didn't come to help us, even though that's a side effect of their coming. They came for vengeance. But hey, that's a good thing, because it means they will be a help against Morgoth when the time comes. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, writ large. But Melian knows there's something beyond vengeance and getting the Silmarils back. She just doesn't know what it is, yet. Now, eventually, word gets to Thingol, through Círdan of all people, about the deeds of the Noldor ere they came to Beleriand. And as bad as the actual facts are, the kinslaying in particular, the fact that the evil truth was enhanced and poisoned by lies must have made Thingol utterly furious. So when Galadriel's brothers showed up, that's Finrod, but it's also Angrod and Aegnor, Thingol has words. It's not just what they did, it's that they weren't upfront about it. Though, let's be honest, confessing this right at the beginning probably wouldn't have gone over very well either. Now, Finrod's point, before he knows what he's accused of, is to say that they've not done anything against Thingol and his people. But that's not how Thingol sees it, and really, he's right. And we would do well to remember here that Thingol is the great-uncle of Galadriel, Finrod, Angrod, and Aegnor. Thingol, originally known as Elwë, was the brother of Olwë. His daughter, Eärwen, is their mother. That's Olwë's daughter, Eärwen, is their mother. So when he says the slaying of your mother's kin, he's referring to the people of his brother, Olwë, the guy who Feanor reproached as faint-hearted loiterers. So Finrod is stunned into silence. He doesn't want to rat out his fellow Noldor, so he remains quiet. We'll see if his brothers do the same. For now, though, that does it for this week's Silmarillion Saturday. Thank you for joining me, and please come back next week as, well, Angrod is more than happy to say what's on his mind, and Thingol bans the language. Please visit patreon.com/TolkienTimes to learn how you can support the show, get an ad-free feed, a bonus episode every week, and more. And folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Follow or subscribe on podcast apps, and follow @TolkienTimes on social media. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.